Hello, everyone. This week we have a special guest with us from the Wekan team, and we are we're bringing the news now. As you can see, I am alone this week, and we don't have either of the Yan brothers here. But we're going to try to give you some interesting points and uh, share some interesting things that have been happening this week in the JavaScript community and with Meteor itself. So let's just go straight on to it. My name is Alim Gafar. I'm in New York City. Jan Küster and Jan Dvorak, who are my co-hosts, are not here with us this week. They're both out sick, and so I'm driving the show alone. So you're watching this week in MeteorJS, which is a Meteor Dispatches podcast. And right now we're gonna head straight on into the news. If you remember last week, we had a feature with Sasha Grief, and Sasha has put together the state of JS. It's a survey that he does every year. Has been doing it for several years right now. He does a number of state of surveys with regard to front end technologies. I believe also CSS as well as JavaScript. And we have another old-timer Meteor person that is also involved in doing these kinds of surveys and talks. And recently, Evan Yu, who is the founder of VueJS, the VueJS project, gave a talk over at, and I knew this was going to happen, I'm running the show by myself today, and we have the wrong graphic up right now. So we're off to an interesting start here. Let's see. Let me just get this up and ready. So hopefully we're not going to hear any audio on this. Let me yeah, there we go. So yeah, this is not a great start. So Evan Yu, who is a former, let me share this, who is a former Meteor staffer, worked for MDG for a while, I believe on the Blaze project, which is the Meteor front end. And he ended up leaving after a while and founding Vue. I'm assuming from some of the lessons that he had learned while he was working on Blaze. And Vue has, as many of you know, is a lightweight front end, an alternative for some people to React.js, and has its own ecosystem, has a large following, and good adoption. And so at TorontoJS recently, conference, he gave an update on Vue and Vite. So this is something that you may want to check in on and take a look for yourself. There's some key points, some takeaways that he had from that talk. Number one, that the Vue 3 adoption, which is the latest version of Vue, has tripled from 400,000 to over 1.2 million downloads since the start of 2023. And many of the Vue 3 features have now been backported into Vue 2.7 to bring benefits of Vue, bring these benefits to the Vue 2 users who won't be able to make the leap to Vue 3, as well as some improved IDE tooling such as Volar and TypeScript support with Vue TSC. So if you want to, you could watch the recap on YouTube. We'll have the link in the show notes later on, and you can get some more details for yourself from that. Okay, now we're going to move on to another topic that has come up quite often, which is this, and we're always looking at shiny and new things. And one of those things that we've seen again and again is discussions on both Deno and Bun. So let's get back over here for a second. And give me 1 second here. I've got to move off. And there's been some recent updates on Bun development. So both are modern runtime drop in modern runtime alternatives to Node.js, and they keep on upping the stakes with regard to functionality and thinking about performance. And one of the things that Deno has done recently, it's adopted a feature called Deno cron. And the Deno team has added this feature as part of the core functionality of Deno itself, where you could just drop in a cron job, and there's some demo code over here that that shows just how simple this is. It follows the basic cron tab format, and it's kind of interesting that they're doing this. If you're going to do this in Node, you'd either have to use the cron or the Node cron packages. It's not a native capability, and it's kind of interesting to see what that team is doing and what it's finding interesting. I'm kind of curious what drove this feature and whether or not you think that a feature like this is something that is missing from Node. In light of this also, I took a look at what's recently been put out there on Bun. And as you know, we did a couple episodes a month or so back on Bun and developments that have happened with Bun. And what was really curious to me, or what was, I think, kind of useful, was this notion of trying to benchmark activities in Bun. So we have Daniel Lemire. Daniel Lemire is a professor of computer science at the University of Quebec. I'm probably not doing it justice in my English translation of it. And he did some simple benchmarking on WebSocket performance with Bun versus Node.js. And in this blog post that I'm showing you right now, he runs a test, and he's just testing latency. And one of the things that stood out to me is just how he frames what he was measuring. He was measuring latency, how long the trips take, rather than how many requests they could support simultaneously, was one of the caveats that he put in. That's a direct quote in this article. Don't remember exactly where it was here that I found it. Here were some of the results that he found as he was going through it. You can read about it more. It's he mentions also that in previous HTTP testing, they found that Node could support about 45,000 HTTP queries per second, while Bun was nearly twice as capable. However, to get these high numbers, we would have to have multiple requests in flight at all times. So I believe that might have been, yes, that was in fact a quote from a separate article that he did on HTTP testing. And that was with this article, Web Server Hello World Benchmarks, Go versus Node versus NIM versus Bun. So he had done a four-way comparison, gotten some feedback, gotten some results from it, and there is that. Okay, the reason that I bring this up and I pull these articles in and share them with you is to also share with you the idea that when you are thinking about these runtimes or doing evaluations, you don't have to take your entire application and port it and see whether or not it'll run. What you can do is you can just evaluate specific features or specific performance aspects to see whether or not it works in the context of these new runtimes. And I think that there is a good lesson to be learned from these articles in terms of how do you simplify and how do you model specific aspects that you want to get feedback on. And so I think this is good. We'll have these two articles in the show notes also. I encourage you to read both of them for understanding and ideas how to perform your own benchmarks. And with that, I want to move on to, let's see here. I don't have it up here, but atmosphere. Let's see. No, let me go back to sharing. Give me 1 second here. There we go. Got to share my screen again. And we are, where are we? Let's get back over here. Here we go. Atmosphere. All right. So there has been a relatively new update to TypeScript. TypeScript, hang on. TypeScript. So you're seeing how the sausage is made, so to speak. And while that is loading, I don't know why it's loading so slowly. All right, here we go. So a new version of TypeScript has popped out. It's a minor release. It's TypeScript 5.3.2, 5.3.2, and community member Per Berglund has, of course, released a new wrapper for the TypeScript compiler, the Meteor TypeScript package, which is under the let's see, it's under the ref apps namespace, and so that is a recent package update that's been done. It's, as he says himself, it's not a major update. There's really not a lot that it covers, but he wanted to make sure that it was up to date so that it would encompass the latest version of TypeScript for the people that want to use it. So there you have it, new package update in the Meteor space. For some of you, we've had some discussions, and I've been looking in the forums recently, and there seems to be a challenge that people have sometimes with debugging Node.js. And I'll tell you, I have Lauri here with me today, and we'll talk a little bit more. I've seen Lauri go through and help others out on the forums and in the Slack with when they get their stack traces and they're not quite sure what to do next. He often will pop in and help out, as do others like the Ons, for instance, with guiding them along, how finding what the root cause of their issues are by using different debugging techniques, whether it's just looking through the stack trace, or maybe it's helping them find places where they could put in a good print statement here and there, or learning how to use the Chrome tools, the Chrome developer tools, to trace out their problems. But for those of you that maybe don't want to admit it, or need a refresher, or just not familiar with how to debug in Node.js, Dinesh Rawat has published an article in LinkedIn, and let me get that up. And it's not a hugely technical article. As a matter of fact, it's really short on technicality, technical details. Let me pull that up. I'll share that screen so we could see it. And here is the article, Tools, Techniques, and Best Practices. And it's a pretty tidy overview that covers terminology, basic practices to avoid making bugs in the first place, and the tooling in Node.js, in Chrome, and in VS Code, and some other third-party tools that allow you to that might help you in your debugging. So he goes through some terminology here, which you should be familiar with. I think this is cute. RTFM. Yeah, he completely sidesteps what that means altogether, which is great. But he talks a little bit about what you could do to make sure that you get some upstream control before you create bugs. And then he goes through some aspects about how you can debug with Chrome, debugging using environment variables, and then of course how do you use some debugging features in VS Code, free IDE from Microsoft. So there is some useful information here. Again, it's a little bit comprehensive in the sense that it's trying to give the landscape of things that you could do, not specific techniques per se. But I think if you are not very familiar with your options, you may want to check it out and then go on from there to some more detailed tutorials. So with that, check it out if you need a refresher, and see whether or not that works for you. All right. Moving on from there, there have been some updates. As some of you know, there is new release of Mongoose 8 in October, and that is the ORM for MongoDB. And this version of Mongoose has some breaking changes, about 14 of them. And if you're using it now, many of you don't actually use Mongoose in order to access MongoDB, and many of you, some of you don't even realize that you're using a database on the back end. I mean, let's be honest about it. That's part of the magic, right? We just have collections, and the collections disappear someplace, and they're available to you to retrieve data and to post data and to do queries against them. So it's a MongoDB, and the latest version of Mongoose, which is an alternative way to talk to the database, has some breaking changes, as I said before. If you're interested in finding out more about those changes and you're using Mongoose specifically, you may want to stop in and take a look at what those changes are. Some of them are, they've dropped support for raw result options and find one and remove. I don't know anybody that really uses that, but they've removed the overwrite option for update 1 and find one and update, etc. So there's some things in here that might pertain to you specifically, but for the majority of users of MongoDB, Meteor with MongoDB behind it, this will not affect you. But for those of you who are using Mongoose and are thinking about upgrading to the latest version, version 8, these are some concerns that you might have. Take a look at them, see if it affects your code, and then try to figure out from there what options you have. Maybe stay with the current version that you're using, or maybe move on. So we'll see. Now I don't have a link for this, but what I also wanted to share was some news that I found. And this is really a topic discussion for the people that are working on the open source parts of Meteor, which is Vercel announced their deprecation schedule for Node 16. And what was interesting to me was that their deprecation schedule is 1 quarter after the Node.js's team's end-of-life schedule for support for 16. And, we are currently beyond LTS, long-term support, and end-of-life for Node 14. And we're doing that because we need to support the platform in order to, get security updates and other features in for our current set of Meteor users. Now, while everybody is still on the 2 regime, we're still on Node 14, so we're a little behind on things. When we go to Node 3, we jump past 16 and 18, and we hop right on to Node 20. And it just seems that there has been this big lag, and as a community, we might want to consider what does our deprecation schedule look like in terms of underlying node support going forward when we move over to 20? Do we follow something like what the Vercel team is doing, which is we, pan it out 1 quarter afterwards, or do we think about it in other ways? Now, right now, I have not been looking at the chat. I want to just stick my head in for a second here. And I noticed that Storyteller is saying, according to the latest docs, there will be an official cron package for Meteor 3. So we're going back to the earlier discussion. I don't know if there's anybody in the chat right now that has an opinion on the deprecation schedule as we're talking about it. I don't know if Lauri, if you have an opinion on this, but I think there's some differences, right? Because the next team is really, they run a hosted a SaaS application. So if they decide that they're going to make an upgrade and migrate, it doesn't affect people as much. I think you can actually download Next and run it locally. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think you can, right? So you don't necessarily have to use a platform. But with regard to Meteor, most of our customers, a lot of people they might be using Galaxy, but they might be doing their own hosted deployments. Lauri, you don't use Galaxy, do you?
Most users self-host.
Self-host, yeah. So that might have an impact on whether or not you could, the Meteor team and the core team and the community teams could, the folks that are working on Meteor core could actually put a rule in that says we're going to, follow the same deprecation policy that Vercel has. So it's something that we've talked about among the community members that are involved in package maintenance and core development about what goes on with Meteor and how to stay current with what's happening with Node. But I don't know that there's an easy answer for this. I think that this is something that we're going to have to figure out as time goes on, and hopefully we're able to cut something that rationalizes a little better so that we're not out of sync too long. And that's it for the news this week. And with that, I would like to say, that I'd like to welcome our guest here with us, who's been very quiet and patient in the audience here, and well, not in the audience, on the stage, sitting next to me, so to speak, on the stage. And this is Lauri Ojansivu. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, but I hope I have. And Lauri is the sole maintainer of Wekan. And I want to give you some context of what this is. So, we have some packages, we have some projects out there that historically have been around for a very, very long time in the Meteor community. They are things like Rocket Chat, things like, Telescope and then Vulkan, that have been these great examples of how to use almost every single feature, if not all of the features that are available in Meteor, and give a sort of a template as to some best practices as to how you can build large-scale applications with Meteor that scale and that are performant. And one of those that gets forgotten from time to time, and I wish we would remember it more, is Wekan. And although we have a commercial version of a project management tool that uses some of the features that Wekan has in Hive and Hive Teams, Wekan is an open source project that is available to all of you to be able to download and use. And it is like Trello, right? And I'm sure it has some differences and distinctions. But if you've used a Kanban product before, like Trello or Asana, then you can understand what Wekan is like. And let me just do something here. I'm going to just get over to the web pages for it. So let me share that right now. Here we go. And in a second, I'm going to pass this on to Lauri, who's going to give us more of a background on this. But again, this is one of those tools that is super amazing. He's going to tell us a little bit about its history and his role in it, and how you can use it and when you should use it. Okay, so Lauri, please, I'll let you take over.
Thanks. So I have been maintaining Wekan for 6 years, and originally Wekan was created by Maxime Guendale from France, and I had translated Wekan to Finnish, and then for 2 months he did not merge pull requests. So at community we wanted to continue Wekan, so we made Wekan fork, and I started as merging those pull requests back, and then we got contact back to the original creator, and he did give access to merge all the changes back. So I did merge those changes and have been maintaining Wekan for 6 years, and that did happen start at December 2016. And there has been about 300 contributors to Wekan, and I myself have added and removed about 4 million lines of code to Wekan. So Wekan is full features Kanban, many of the same features like in Trello or Jira or Asana or some others, and there are also ways to import from some of those to Wekan. Most complete is the import from Trello, and there is new import options and export options added. So Wekan is used in most countries of the world, so there could be shown that snapcraft.io/Wekan webpage. So there is only some countries where some limited amount of countries where Wekan is not used, like in North Korea or some at middle of Africa. But most users are at Germany and USA, as can be seen from its map, and this map is only for the Snapcraft, so Snap packages that update automatically. So there are also Docker version and source bundle version, Sandstorm version, and then but some of these platforms are currently up to date, and others will be updated soon when I make those updates available. So Snap packages will automatically update from current 6.09 to newest 7. something when I release soon that update. And also at Wekan Wiki there is Wekan deep dive that is at the right menu top. So there is a list of all Wekan features at wiki right menu top, Wekan deep dive, and Wekan paying customers usually are some public organizations like universities or governments or others that would like to have a yearly support or some features and fixes, and those are, and also Wekan has participated to some public projects. So at wekan.github.io webpage there is some of those web projects listed, like some EU projects, and there is also Finnish users group grant.
I'm sorry, Lauri. What was that website that you mentioned just now? Wekan. What?
Wekan.github.io. That is the main website. It is also the About Wekan first link in that page you are currently viewing. So this what is now is shown is wekan.team, but there is the GitHub page wekan.github.io, where is the main Wekan web page, where is also all the downloads and listed all the donated servers and also those projects. Yeah, this page. So at first there's features, and recently there is the standard for public code, where was also looking how this is related to other open source projects, and there is that Fug.fi and that EU project NGI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see. The projects page. Where do you want me to click?
Yeah, you could go a little down to show the platform. Okay, there is the standalone Wekan and standalone Wekan. So here is the different versions. So current newest version for Snap is at the Snap candidate channel, and there will be automatic update to the Snap stable channel, and then it is possible to run it with Docker, and if you scroll a little up, then there is there is text newest Wekan at AMD 64 platforms, Linux bundle, Snap candidate, Docker, Kubernetes, fixing other platforms is in progress. So newest Wekan will come to all those platforms, and there will be additional platforms.
Very cool.
Yeah. So currently, biggest Wekan user has about 30,000 users. They run it with Kubernetes and maybe have about 8 pods at the, and they will be upgraded to newest Wekan. And many users use it at private on-premise network, so it is not connected to internet at all, or anyway, in cases people like to have all the data to themselves, because Wekan does not require anything downloaded from internet when it starts. Everything, all the code and everything is locally, so there is only needed Node.js and MongoDB and the zip package that has all the Wekan code, that is about 60,000 files, that has all the JavaScript and other dependencies. And there has been millions of downloads of this, and Wekan has been since the start by original creator of Wekan, Maxime Kuandale, written in Meteor 1 something, and it did start. When I did start, there had been about 20 versions. So the version numbering was standardized when I started from 0.20, and then it is increased with 0.01 with every release. So you could go to the changelog there in that page.
Okay.
That is currently, so it is down below the changelog.
Okay. There it is.
There, yes. So this changelog shows all the changes since I started maintaining, and there are original changes. So if you scroll to bottom of that long list, so there has been so because everything increases by 0.01, there has been over 700 releases of Wekan.
Wow.
So I have released new version of Wekan about every third day since starting.
Let's see. Hang on a second here.
Yeah, scroll to the bottom.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah, it started. And a little up there was the Wekan fork. When you go, it soon will be there. So there.
Oh, here's the fork.
Wekan fork first release, and then it was merged.
Okay.
So after that, the version numbering goes from those RC1 and so on to the more normal numbering.
Modern numbering.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And Wekan uses very many Wekan features, but most important is the authentication package, because the OIDC or OAuth2 authentication has been modified to support many kind of login. So at Wekan wiki, there is list all the different ways to log in with it, and also there is LDAP login, and there is soon also coming cache logging and SAM logging. Those are in development, and the Meteor 3 there is in progress to try to upgrade to Meteor 3. So, but in general, every Wekan update and it is the main purpose to upgrade from any old version to newest version, and there is like minimal changes. All the features keep working, and it will be hosted similarly. Currently, Wekan uses MongoDB, but there could be, when FerretDB gets more features, it could be possible to replace MongoDB with FerretDB. So FerretDB is Golang-based proxy to SQLite and PostgreSQL. So it implements MongoDB via protocol for MongoDB 6, and then there is some additional what is needed to be added as features to FerretDB, like supporting oplog or some database coverage. But Wekan can be started with FerretDB already, but some writing to database or some others do not yet work. So, but maybe this or next year it will become possible. So currently Wekan is kind of dependent on platforms where MongoDB is available, but that FerretDB will help to run even more platforms. For example, Node.js is available for many CPU architectures and operating systems, so it will bring more possibilities. And there are many hosting providers that also host Wekan, and I also have Wekan hosting available at wekan.team page, and there is possible to have that optional support and hosting, but many customers host Wekan themselves, and I have a private chat where I give information how they can add upgrades or fix something or in that commercial support.
All right. So that's a pretty comprehensive overview of what's happened with Wekan, your role in it, and where it stands today. I think what's really pretty cool is the number of different platforms that Wekan supports, and I was really surprised to find out that that you have Wekan running on mainframes.
Yes, that port did happen first after I got Wekan working on ARM64 Linux, but then I did hear about Open Mainframe and Mainframe podcast, where was information that it was possible to get shell access to mainframe and apply for it if one is open source maintainer. So I applied and the purpose of porting Wekan, and the porting project did require that I would use the Node.js version that was available for Linux S360X, and also MongoDB. There was some version available, and to port it, there was first there was need to make the Wekan bundle on normal our AMD 64 computer, and then upload that package, and then compile fibers, and that was the most important changes. So then it was possible to run Wekan, and there is also a wiki page about it. So there is maybe link also at Wekan website, but it is github.com/wekan/wiki/s390x. So there is information of that, of everything related to that, and there is also other open source software that I have tried to port the successfully or not. So the thing is that currently Bun and Deno do not run at S360X because there are some problems compiling it for that platform, and there are some GitHub issues about it. But Node.js does already run at S360X, and the main point is in Node.js is that it is available for very many different operating systems and CPU platforms, where it has been already tested that it works with all the Node.js packages that are available. And these Deno and Bun are still very new. They don't support so many platforms.
Yeah, you have made that not just from basic support uh, compilation and running, right, without seg faulting or something else, but also from just being able to support the existing packages in the npm environment, right?
Yes. So currently, point is that Meteor has very many packages available at atmosphere.js and npm.js.com, and there's very wide compatibility and very big applications with very many features available. So when using any other platform, it depends, are all those dependencies available? Do they work? For example, if someone would use Bun or Deno, do they have available all working dependencies that Meteor already has?
It's pretty cool, and I think Lauri, we'll get together at some point, and we'll also talk about some of the security testing and guidelines that you've put together as part of your wiki that other Meteor developers could benefit from, and we'll probably go deeper into some of these in a deep dive discussion in some future episode. So if you're all interested in that and you'd like to get more information. And by the way, you should check out the wiki page. You should check out Wekan itself and download it, run it, use it. I think you mentioned that you also do some commercial hosting, Lauri. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if you're not interested so much in doing the work of installing and running and configuring and maintaining your own version of it, you can reach out to Lauri and see if he has the availability to add on more customers if you'd like to have it hosted. So we'll have all of these links in the show notes later, and you can go back to those and get in touch. And Lauri, how can they get in touch with you if they want to talk to you?
At Wekan.team, there is a link commercial support. There is email address.
Okay. So it's support@wekan.teams or team?
Yes.
Support@wekan.team, singular.
Yes.
Okay. And you can get in touch with Lauri that way. But you can also find him in the forums because he's often there chatting. So you can probably just do a DM directly to him there. And also he is in the Slack pretty much every day. So you can find him there under username XET7. Is that correct? I think.
Yes, and usually for Wekan open source users, there is that github.com/wekan/issues. Usually there is asked all the questions for open source, and also there is free hosted Wekan version. There are links at wekan.github.io Wekan website. To use that, there is only normal user access, not admin access. But if someone needs admin access, then it is possible to use my paid hosting or some other hosting.
Okay.
And there are also mobile apps for Play Store and Ubuntu Touch Open Store and Windows Microsoft Store. So those use that same Meteor-based Wekan that I have hosted at the donated server.
Do you have an iPhone version or an iOS version of Wekan?
Yes, so it is possible to use that my hosted version at wiki/pwa page is info how to make icon.
Okay.
And also if you host it yourself, you can use that same PWA wiki page to make icon for iOS. So Wekan is compatible with the touchscreen. It has a touchscreen interface. If it is mobile phone, it is showing a smaller interface that is optimized for mobile phone. But if it is tablet or bigger, then it shows the full desktop interface of Wekan. And there is also at wiki information how to enable or disable drag handlers, so it is possible to drag from that drag handler that looks like a cross and use other parts of the board to move up and down on the board.
Interesting. Okay. So there are lots of different ways to control the Wekan interface.
Yes. So if someone installs Wekan to on-premise internal network, they can use that PWA information to add icons to local mobile phones and tablets and use then some desktop browsers at the laptops. And there are many ways to use that Wekan.
Excellent. All right. Well, that's great to know. So thank you, Lauri. it's great having you here, and it was terrific to get this tour of Wekan, this application that uses and really it pushes the boundaries of the features that are available in Meteor, and not only pushes Meteor and uses all of the Meteor features, but also is a really great example of a application that has been built on Meteor, but then is accessible on many, many different platforms. And yeah, as I said before, I think there's a lot to be learned here. There's a lot that you actually do share, and so we're gonna give some basic links over, and hopefully, if you guys are interested in finding out more, again, go download Wekan, try it out, go to the wiki, read what he's got, and yeah, and I think Lauri's always been in touch with people in terms of helping them out. I don't think that's going to change now. So if you see XET7, you now know who that person is. All right, and I think that's the handle that he uses both on the forums as well as in the Slack channel. So, all right, well, thank you. I'm gonna pull this down now, and we're gonna just do some final stuff, wrapping up for the day here. I just want to remind people that the Blaze panel is being scheduled for after the new year. We've been talking to some of the people that have committed to being on that panel, and the preference is not to do something within the first week of the new year because there's still stuff happening, I guess. And so we're trying to figure out a date that works for everybody. So once we get that, we'll let you know right here. And I just want to say a little shout out to my host colleagues that are not here today. Miss you guys. It's a lot more fun when you are here sitting alone. It's not so much fun, but it has been fun to do this with Lauri. I've had a chance to chat with him a few times, and it's been really kind of cool. He is in Finland, right? That's where you're
Yes.
calling in from, and it's late in the afternoon in Finland. Is it dark already by you?
Yes.
So it's it's a little different in New York. It's the day was just beginning when we got started, so we're at the mid morning at this point, and so it's as I said before, it'd be nice to have the other two Jans who are both very sick right now and are trying to recover. So Blaze panel after the new year. Just want to also say happy Hanukkah to those of you who are celebrating. This is a major holiday season for a number of different religions and cultures. And so I want to get it in early. I don't know when Kwanzaa starts in the United States, but happy Kwanzaa for the folks that are there. And of course, Merry Christmas for the season, for those of you who celebrate the entire season and not just the day. It's something that I hope you are all able to enjoy. And Storyteller wrote in that it's dark in Czechia right now as well. And I think that's to be expected. I'm kind of interested in like the latitude changes, how quickly the dark comes in Finland versus Central Europe. I'm sure it probably is a little earlier in the day, but I don't know. It'll be kind of cool to see some pictures at some point. Thank you all for joining and continuing to show up. Thank you for supporting us. If you find that you'd like to see this continue, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. We appreciate that. We're trying to get better and better at this broadcasting thing. It's still very new to us. It's not natural, and we're still working on it. And obviously, I have an issue with like trying to just look at the camera. And so if you see my eyes going around, it's because I'm not used to this yet. It's just really, really odd to me to do this. So with that, I'd like to say we are expecting another guest next week, and so I think we are. Let me take a look real quick and see what the story is there. That's the 15th, right? I don't know if we have confirmed, but I believe we're going to try to get somebody from the core team who is on the community side, who's done a tremendous amount of contributions to Meteor to join us next week and talk about the work that he's done. And I hope that we can see that person next week. And I don't see a color coding that indicates that it's been confirmed. So would like to look forward to that. But we do have a lot of news already prepared for next week, and we're going to talk a little bit about isomorphism. Also, we're gonna go deeper into Meteor. And with that, I would just like to say thank you for joining us this week, and I hope you have a good weekend. Take care. Bye.